BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike here with BeastNet, and today I got with me Ken from Liberation Firearms. So Ken, you've been on before. I mean, everyone kind of hopefully remembers you. Let them know real quick who you are again, and then we'll talk about what's coming up on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Kenneth Brown, founder and president of Liberation Firearms Training. We're the guys that hopefully here soon are going to have the first indoor shooting range here in Central Oregon, Redmond to be specific. We do a lot of armed DPSST and firearms classes, CCW, basic pistol. You name it, we got it pretty much. I also work with Tammy quite a bit and to support her challenges that she has going on, and the Battle HD is going to be one of them. We also have the Zombie Outbreak Run happening in downtown Redmond in October. So those are both events that we're both going to be doing.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit. She talked a little bit about that one, and that one sounds like a blast. I mean, it's the Zombie Outbreak. Can't wait for that one too in October. I'm pretty sure I got to see which weekend it is because I got to go to Dallas in October too. So, but
oh geez.
So we got to see which weekend that is to make sure they don't, they're not the same weekend, hopefully. But yeah, so this, Battle HD, that's Saturday the 28th. Yes. So, which is going to be so much fun. So, I know when we talked before, it was kind of a surprise what's going to happen that weekend. So I'm guessing it's still a surprise and you're not supposed to tell us what your station's going to be, are you?
Yeah. I just, I'm gonna let her do all the details. I just want to let you know that they will be a safety course that I'll give before you come to my station. So once you get there, you'll know a little bit about what's going on. You're not just gonna go completely blind. Can't do that with firearm stuff.
No, and that's one thing Tammy's been really good about. And I've let everyone know I've done the other events with her at this where they had shooting, and I know there's supposed to be a couple of them, I think, at this event.
Yeah.
Yep. There was always a lot of safety right up front, like, hey, let's make sure we're doing this right, which I love. I mean, as a safety guy, that's my job, is to make sure things are safe. I mean, I'm a safety professional in construction. So it's one of those that I love how she makes people feel, she gets people like you and other people that have been there at the last ones that make you feel comfortable with the firearm before they're not just shoving a gun in your hand and saying, shoot, which.
Yeah, here you go. Good luck. Yeah. No, that's definitely not the case.
No, and it's not. And it's really good for anybody who has never shot before, or the experienced shooter to someone who's never even held a gun before, to get comfortable with it before we hand it to you and make you do it, which I think is great, because I think there's a lot of people out there that don't have experience with guns,
Yeah, definitely.
I got a new M&P shield for Christmas, and took my wife out shooting. And I mean, she's someone who's never really been shooting. So I went with my good friend, Brian, who will be with me at Battle HD and the Troops Challenge, that weekend, because they're both on, Saturday and Sunday are two events. And we went out shooting, and it was really nice to get her a chance to show her how to shoot it and everything else, because she doesn't really have experience with guns. So, because I've had experience throughout my life, but it's not something she's ever really been interested in. And the only gun I had before that was a 45, and she's fired it one time and felt like she was going to break her wrist. And she's like, nope, I'm done. So it's really nice to be able to get people that chance to understand how they are before they hand them to you. So, and especially from an experienced shooter like you, I mean, who has, a huge background with guns and teaching people how to use guns.
Yeah. The thing I like about this course and the other one is the Troops Challenge, is that it's really for your advanced shooters and your basic shooters. Like, if you've never touched a gun and you come out to the Battle HD, it's still going to be really, really fun for you, because it's not one of those things where you're like in direct competition with another person. Like, the whole event is like a, 3-gun competition or something. It's like, no, you get to the station at your own pace, you knock it out, you move on to the next station. But you still get a lot of good tips, even if you're a basic shooter, which is going to want you to most likely, come to some other course. Like, man, you know what? Maybe I'm good at this. there's been quite a few guys that have come out and taken, I don't know, just a little basic course, and then next thing you know, they're 3-gun shooters or something like that. They just found their niche.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like that's really cool. So,
And
I
that
really dig it.
Yeah, and that's one thing with guns that I've seen a lot, where you get people that are totally afraid of them or whatever, and not really even just afraid of them, just no real interest or anything in them. And then once they've held them and tried them and they understand how they can be safe and they are great, tools when used correctly, and then things get better. So, and then they change their thought process on them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
It's
once they
over.
realize it's a safety thing and like that people are serious, and you have to remain consistent and whatnot, and you start applying them to all these, there's so many events that are going on that they're actually starting to add more shooting, because it's like, what else can you do? Well, let's add some gunpowder to it. So you're going to probably start seeing them more and more and more and more. I've had quite a few companies that do challenges like Tammy's. I mean, hers are the better ones, no big deal. But they've reached out to me and they've wanted to do that, whether it be with airsoft, whether it be with like CO2 deals, whether it be live fire, it's starting to become a thing. So,
which is cool. I mean, it's one of those things. I think the safety needs to come back. I think that's one of the big problems that we have with a lot of people is they don't understand the use of a firearm. They don't understand the safety of it. They don't understand, like, if you know how to use one correctly, they're a great tool. But there's too many people out there that, have never been trained in how to use them, have never, and I've met those people. I've been, when I was younger, I've been friends with those people that pretty much just grew up and their parents handed them a gun and said, here you go, and never really trained them on the safety of it. Where, I didn't grow up with my parents really having guns, but there was enough around me that I grew up understanding how to respect them and be safe with them. And that's what, I think we need is more stuff like this, where people are learning that respect, and how to use a gun correctly.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with that. I love these courses that me and Tammy kind of do and that she's putting on, mainly because people get an understanding of what it's like to be tired while shooting.
Yes.
That's one thing that a lot of people don't really think about. They think, hey, I'm just going to draw and then I'm going to fire. If I were to take a random, advanced shooter, basic shooter, somebody from the service, it doesn't matter. If I were to take them, go to a range and start a stopwatch, like a timer, it would immediately add stress, and then it would immediately change how they shot right off the bat. So adding some kind of running to it, it's something to see how people perform under stress, or when they're fatigued, or when they're tired. Because once you get an adrenaline dump, it's like, man, it's a whole different beast. So I love it because it's a different aspect that people don't see normally when they train. It's one of those things where you really, really should get out here, give it a shot, and just take in how it actually is when you're running and gunning. Like people often say, man, like the military is this, the military is that. Well, one of the things that they do a lot of is stress shoots, shooting under pressure and things like that. And this is everyone's opportunity to get, a chance to do that in a very, very, very safe environment.
Yeah.
Which
is what's amazing about it. I mean, it's setting up in a safe environment and making it, so people can learn. I mean, that's one thing. Like the last time I did the Battle HD was, we lifted heavy things, two different events of lifting heavy. Then we did an axe throw, and then went over and did a door breach with a shotgun, and then had to shoot down range with a rifle. And I can't remember which one it was, but we had to shoot down with range with a rifle. Well, my biggest problem was my arms were smoked, because I just, did, 100, I think it was 187-pound deadlifts, how many you could do before you stopped. So my legs and arms were smoked. And then the other one was lifting a keg that was full of sand over your head, as many times as you could. So my arms, like I said, are done. And then I noticed that because of my arms were tired and everything, the shotgun trying to do the door breach, every time I pulled the trigger, I was pulling up on the shotgun. So I kept shooting above, I was hitting the top of the board that was supposed to show what, like for the door breach, I was hitting the top of it. In all 3 shots, I cleaned the top of it off, because I kept pulling up every time I shot because my arms are so tired, and you don't think of the different ways you're going to shoot when you're tired. It's like, if we go to the range and that's all we ever learn is how to shoot at the range, cool. I can shoot good in a quiet, typical atmosphere with no stress. What am I going to do when all of a sudden there's stress and I'm tired?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that people often think of when they think of stress is they think for some reason like someone's shooting at them. That's like everyone's go-to thing is like, when I say the word stress, they're like something's attacking them. Stress can be just, I mean, it could be anything. It could be you drawing sometimes is stressful, or like you were talking about breaching the door. Man, if you're lifting all this stuff, of course, that's adding some type of stress to your body. It's altering how your body just naturally performs, So like even with you, you found yourself shooting high. Not many people are going to know what they can do under stress if they don't give it a shot, if they don't come out and try, myself included. Tammy was doing one of the courses, I think when I first got introduced to Rise Challenge, it was through the Troops Challenge. And I found myself carrying these water jugs back and forth. And I'm just thinking, man, like even if I were to do that and then run into a shooting scenario or some kind of course, man, my arms would be smoked. I'd be kind of fatigued, and your chance of hitting something just drops dramatically. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, unless you train for it.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it was one of those things it's why, like I said, I love this event because we have all that. But then once again, it's a safe environment. We're all being safe. We're being taught how to do it correctly. We have you and other instructors there that are making sure that we're using everything safely. And I mean, that's what's amazing about it. It gives you a chance to try it out, but safely try it out,
Yeah, 100%. And we got some pretty cool stuff out there. We'll have suppressed firearms. We got some cool stuff out there. I'm hoping to see if we can knock out a surprise visit from Hammer Down and see if we can't get a belt fed out there that people can give a shot at. So we'll check into it. Yeah.
So, and that's what's going to be cool. I mean, a lot of people, this isn't your typical event. And I think that's one of the things, because I just did the Ranch Challenge there, which was an amazing event as usual. I love her events because it was different obstacles I'd never seen before and different, things that we had to do. But this event isn't your typical event. Like I said, there's, the last time there was, axe throwing. Now this time there's going to be some different types of shooting. So there's things that you get to try out that you've never done before that, I mean, give you a different type of obstacle course. And that's why I'm looking so forward to doing it again. It's one of those things that, I'm half tempted to just bring my gun, but I don't think I can carry it in Oregon because I don't have that card. But there's no, you have to get the Oregon.
Well, Oregon,
but I don't have Oregon.
Oregon technically is in the open carry state.
Yeah.
But if you want to, technically, if you're carrying it in your car or something like that, and it's within arm's reach, it's technically concealed.
Yeah.
So if you take it and you put it in a, lockbox or something and put it in your trunk, I think you'd be all right to bring it down.
Yeah. Because that's what I used to do in Washington before I had my concealed. I just kept it, threw it all the way in the back to where I'd have to literally get out of the car and walk to the back to go get it, and kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Because I have my concealed in Washington now. I don't have it in Oregon yet. I've thought about it, but
yeah. Well, if you want to take a class from me, it's only 4 hours.
Is that what it is?
That's what it takes.
Yeah, like a 4
That's
hour
what
class.
it takes. I highly, how do I say this? Disagree with how Oregon does their CHL. There's quite a few people that'll take a 4-hour course and get their, I call it death by PowerPoint. Once they're done with it, they go get their CHL and then they find out like, man, I actually probably should go shoot.
Yeah.
So they'll come to me and they'll say, I got my CCW, but I just want to be proficient with shooting. And I'm like, well, they should probably have you shoot when you get your CCW. So all of my courses, no matter what you do, if you're doing a CCW with me, you're going to have to shoot. Yeah. I don't sign off people like that.
Because it's like in Washington, you don't even have to take a course. Washington, they do a background check. And as long as you don't have which kills me because I mean, it's like this is one of the most, I mean, not to sound bad, but this is one of the most like liberal states on everything else. But the second you I mean, sign up for a gun, you basically do a background check and say, here you go. I never had to take course, just had to do a background check. My background came back, and I said, here you go. And like, there's no, and that is, I mean, as someone who I'm all for Second Amendment rights, but even then, I agree with you that there should be something more. You know, make sure whoever's getting these permits, being able to carry them, you know, has the training. And that's why, you know, I love this, you know, the course that you guys have down there, because it is showing us how to use it correctly, you know. And when you do the training, I love the fact that you're like, yeah, I make you pick up the gun.
Yeah. Everybody that comes through my CCW classes bring their firearm and they shoot their firearm. We have a really awesome system, the Mantis system that we use. It's a dry fire training one, and everybody uses it. So they're getting tons of hands-on with their firearm even before they go out to the range. So it's not new, you know. I'm not a fan of that, because you got a guy or female and they get their CCW and maybe they're walking in a bad neighborhood or whatever the heck happens. They're going to the gym at night or something like that. And next thing you know, somebody walks up on them and they've never drawn their firearm before. Or maybe they get really, really scared and it bumbles around in their hand, or whatever the case may be, you know, because they've never shot it.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing that you want, is someone to have to pull the trigger or have to do something like that. They're going to have to live with that, you know, and it's a scary thought. To me, it is. It's a scary thought, you know.
It is. I mean, it's one of those things you have to live with it. And if you need it and you don't know how to use it, I mean, it's how many times you see in the movies where they're like, hey, the safety's on. I mean, you don't want to be that person that, you know, when you need it.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person.
You know,
yeah,
it's like, I know with mine, normally when I carry mine, I know where the safety is. I know exactly. I've gone out, and that was one of the first things I did before I started carrying it. Even though I've been trained on how to use a gun, I know how to use it. I made sure I took that particular gun to the range and fired it, so that I knew all the intricacies of, you know, how hard do I have to pull the trigger or squeeze the trigger? You know, how hard do I have to do that? How hard, you know, how good does it slide? I mean, everything else. Is it going to fire? Is it going to jam? I mean, I want to make sure the gun, it feels comfortable to me before I start carrying it. And that's what amazes me, where you get people like, oh yeah, you know, how does that gun shoot? I don't know. I've never fired it, but it's on your side.
Yeah, you're carrying it. You've never shot it, but you're carrying it. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. It really does.
Yeah.
You know, it really does. And I hope that all those people who do have CHLs continue to seek training, you know, because it's a perishable skill. Shooting is a perishable skill.
It is.
And if anybody who's taken any of my courses, they know I'm a demo type of instructor. I'm not that type of guy that it's gonna tell you, hey, do this and just sit there. You know, I'm gonna show you, and then I want you to do the same thing. And the biggest reason for that is A, because I want you to see like what I'm saying is accurate, you know, and then B, it's because I need to shoot too. You know, that's like technically a little bit of my training time, you know. So besides going out by myself and doing my own training, I like training with people. I like training in class, and you know, it's a perishable skill. It really is. And unfortunately, a lot of instructors don't take that approach, and they tend to lose that skill. So once it comes time to do something, they're like, man, I haven't shot in 2 months because I've been instructing, you know. It's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man, but
it always reminds me that it's a video that's been going around for 10, 15 years probably, where you see that guy that's got and it looks like he's got a big old like 357 Magnum or something, whatever, instructor that's walking up to the target, and he has the gun in his hand and he goes to holster it and he shoots himself in the leg. And man. You know, and you're like, you know, that's an instructor that did that wasn't paying attention. And it's like, you know, that's why you think people need to have this training so that they know how to do it correctly. I mean, whether you like guns or not, training is the key. And for someone who's a safety guy for all sorts of things in construction, that's what I say about everything. Training, if every tool is effective, if you're trained on how to use it correctly.
Oh, yeah.
And a gun tool. It's just another tool.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, people have hobbies too, you know, they like skateboarding. They like skydiving, they like hiking, they like doing all this stuff. Well, you're not going to go climb up Yosemite just never hiking before.
No.
You're going to want to take some practice hikes somewhere, or, you know, do some things, and that's training. That's just you consistently doing it. The biggest thing that with all those things is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is doing it, but doing it the same way each time. Like, you know, even with, I would like to say my father-in-law likes split boarding, right? Well, if he's for some reason changing all the way he does his split boarding every single time he does it, it's not going to build on anything. He's, you know, maybe his shoes are going to be wrong, or maybe like his board is going to be too small, or maybe this isn't going to work out, or that's not going to work out. You know, it's a difference between testing out equipment and then actually like training. Like, I want to go train for this hike, so I need to have the same equipment. I need to do this. I need to learn my equipment, learn it proficiently, and do all that good stuff. You know, it's just doing it, just getting out there and doing it.
Yeah,
consistently.
Which is amazing. And, you know, and that is so true with like anything, you know. So with the event, I know you can't say a lot of what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be the 28th of May is the Battle HD, and that's the one you're going to be at, correct?
Yeah. That's correct. I'll be at the Troop Challenge as well.
Is the Troop Challenge going to be like it was last time? Is that gonna be the same one, or are you going to make a new challenge?
Hey, like I said, for me, I'm always about getting creative. So as long as Tammy lets me do something different, then I'm game for it, you know.
And that's what I love about Tammy. Tammy's that process too. Tammy doesn't want to always, I mean, she has the things that are kind of like her, this is her, you know, signature thing that she has, but she also wants to make things, you know, different a little bit so that it surprises us, so that you're not, you know, like one of the things we've talked about, if you train for the same thing over and over again, and it's not that next time, you're not ready for it. And that's kind of what she does. She's like, hey, yeah, this is what you saw last time. Now, all of a sudden, hey, you didn't train for this because you didn't know about this. And that's what I think is great with the way she does things. So I'm hoping it's something a little bit different. So that's why I love her events. So, and I know you have that same mindset of let's surprise everyone, because not everything's going to happen the same way. So you have to be trained to, you know, be ready for the, you know, what's the old saying, Semper Gumby. So always flexible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of Tammy's events are really, really fun. They're easy if you need them to be easy, and they're challenging if you need them to be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a group run in the ranch challenge last time.
Yep.
You know, and I ran in it myself, and I was running with some guys that like they're running like 6-minute miles or whatever the case may be. So to me, it was a huge challenge. But the thing is, I'm from the city. You know, I'm just gonna come out with it. I'm from the city, so I don't necessarily throw hay or do anything like that. So when I did that ranch challenge, I was like, man, this is a whole different workout. Mm-hmm. Like a completely different workout, and it smoked me. I remember telling her at the end, I was like, geez, you got me on this one, you know. But if I just kind of walked it, or, you know, did something like that, it would have been fun too. It would have been just as fun. It just, you know, it's how you want it to be. It's how the course is, whatever you need it to be.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, the people that you get at these courses are amazing too. Tammy gets some amazing people at her courses. Like I said, I just did the ranch challenge last weekend. I started off with 2 guys that were ultra runners, just struggling every bit I could to try and keep up with them. There was an incident.
Sure.
So they stepped out about halfway through, and I ended up being adopted by another team. But they were cracking up because when we got to the hay, I was busting the hay like it was nothing. And they're like, and I'm like, I do this all the time. This is just, I help my brother deliver hay. Hay's not a problem. Like when we got to the tire, I flipped it over. I'm like, I may not be fast, but I'm strong. So, you know, and it was just, we had two different, types of training where they were quick, and, you know, I was more the heavy lifter. So, which is what we get on all those challenges, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah. You got to have a complete team.
You do.
Yep.
And that's one thing you get on a lot of these. So make sure if you're coming to these events, make sure you have a complete team. If you're just fast, you know, the strong guys might catch up to you because they're going to beat you on the obstacles. But you also have to be able to, you know, and that's what's great. You have to be fast, strong, be able to shoot. There's so many different things you got to do, and be cool under pressure. So
yeah, that's
going to be good. So is there anything else you want to tell anyone before we go?
No, just I welcome everybody to come out to this Battle HD and Troops Challenge. I mean, it really is something else. It's something to be proud about. If you take the course, like, you're going to meet new people, you're going to learn new skills, and it's just really, really fun to do. I highly encourage people to sign up. I believe you can go to risechallengeevents.com and you can sign up there. You feel free to message me, Ken at liberationft.com, and I'll point you or point you in the right direction and get you going. If there's anybody that wants to run for Team Liberation, feel free to message me. We'll have 4 runners in this competition. And that's all I really got. I just can't wait to see people out there.
Me too. And can't wait to see everyone, Memorial Day weekend. Come on out, hang out. I know if you're there Monday, Tammy's also going to do a Murph on Monday, and a modified Murph, where we're going to climb up a hill, I guess, and do everything with packs. It's going to be painful, but
yep.
But it's going to be good.
Tammy for you.
So look forward to seeing everyone there, and also look up Liberation Firearms if you're down in the Redmond area. I know you do, I think, travel a little bit too, but check their website and go to get some training, get some classes, check out what they offer there at Liberation Firearms.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.